Hey, what's going on, people? Here I am again. Another video by yours truly, Mr. Brown Balding. I'm sorry. I'm just very happy. Great cause for celebration. I finally made it to 100 subscribers. A little bit over, actually. I think last time I checked I was at 105. And yeah, I am beyond happy, excited. Just words cannot even express how I'm feeling at the moment. Thank you so much, all of you, for supporting me, for taking the time out of your days to watch my videos, and subscribing to me, liking, commenting, suggesting. Thank you so much. It means so much. But either way, we're coming in with another reaction to my boy, the Critical Drinker. And apparently, this new reaction is based on Miss Rachel Zegler. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But either way, too much rambling on. Let's get on with the video. 2.3 million subscribers. Do not forget to go to his channel, subscribe to him. He's got a lot of great videos, and I highly recommend you go and support him.
So I was lying on my bathroom floor this morning, trying to work out if the stains on my t-shirt were kebab sauce or blood, or both, when a thought occurred to me. If there's food left in a house that's burning down, there's probably a point where it's perfectly cooked. It's about time I started a new series on this channel. But what to talk about? What aspect of the film industry could I look at this time? Then it hit me.
It's Hollywood, baby.
Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
Stories of celebrities that have nuked their own careers and crashed out of Hollywood in spectacular fashion go back almost as far as movies themselves. But man, I don't think it's ever been as prevalent as it is right now. So why not delve a little deeper into
You know what? Like, look, I'm not celebrating the downfall of anybody. If anything, I like to think of myself as a person who doesn't hate. I appreciate. If there's someone who is doing better than me, and instead of just hating and being envious, I'd rather see what are they doing right. So I can emulate that, put into myself, what am I doing wrong? Basically self-improvement. Don't just be envious. If you're gonna, sometimes you can't avoid it. There's people who are more charismatic, and you just wish you had that. But I'd rather learn to improve rather than just hate. That's just me. And like I said, the point of all that is basically, I don't necessarily celebrate the downfall of some of these people, but at the same time, it's hard for me to feel sorry because you had the whole world in your hand, and I'm not saying that people don't have the right to speak. You do, but how can I say it? Don't want to get too political, but freedom of speech does not absolve you of freedom of consequence. You can say and do whatever you want, but as the old saying goes, any action will inevitably lead to a reaction, and you can't have one without the other. You want that freedom of speech. You want to say whatever you want. You want to put all your stuff out there. Cool. Be prepared for the backlash. It's like the movie The Equalizer. What did he say? When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too, and that's true, man. So.
to their life stories, have a few laughs along the way, and maybe learn a thing or two about how not to succeed in the movie business. So, without further ado, I bring you Crash and Burn, a story of celebrity failure. And truly, we're starting off strong with this one. Celebrity meltdowns don't get much more dramatic and spectacular than Rachel's.
Yeah, like how he said it, it's true. For what I've kept up about Miss Zegler, she definitely rocked that boat. And like I said, not taking anything away from her, but she really effed up, yo. But whatever.
Zegler, a girl who single-handedly transformed herself from an up-and-coming darling of Hollywood to one of the most nuclear-grade toxic celebrities in the entire movie industry. And how did she manage it? Well, pull up a chair and let me tell you a tale. Our story begins in New Jersey back in 2001 when Rachel Zegler was born to Colombian and Polish parents. Damn man, that's a hell of a combination. Anyway, she went the typical theatre kid route and starred in a bunch.
That is true with her last name Zegler and the fact that she looks Hispanic but not entirely. Yeah, very interesting, you know. Little mixed breed, huh? Little half breed there. Just kidding.
Stage shows where she quickly discovered a talent for acting and singing, and even started a YouTube channel where she would cover popular movie songs. Pretty standard stuff so far, and that might have been a...
That's interesting. And I haven't really like paid attention, but for what I've heard, seen, maybe a little clip here and there, and what people have said, apparently she's quite the singer. And yeah. It's just unfortunate, man. I hope she bounces back with a better attitude. Like I said, I don't wish the downfall of anybody. If anything, sometimes you gotta fall hard. I mean, look at Rob Downey Jr. For what I understand, his early life. Even Tom Hardy, my favorite actor. At some point, they really messed up. I think they both got into using drugs and stuff like that, and they fell hard, but they bounced back. So it is possible for her to bounce back. You know, just come back with a better attitude, man. You know, it's never a good idea to pretty much insult all the people who are going to potentially like watch your movies and pay to see you, unless you're going to like one of those insult comics. You know, most people don't pay to be insulted or to be lectured or what do you call that? What's that term? Keep forgetting. Or to be belittled. But yeah.
As far as it went, were it not for Steven Spielberg, who in 2018 was looking to cast Latino actors for his upcoming remake of West Side Story. Young Rachel saw her chance and soon shot to the top of the list for the part of Maria, beating out literally tens of thousands of other hopefuls in the process. Well done, Rachel. The film would ultimately bomb at the box office, but Rachel didn't care. It had put her on the map, and now that her name was out there, she was determined to make the most of it, no matter who she had to piss off in the process. The first real sign of things to come was her behaviour at the 94th Academy Awards, where she was left out of the West Side Story guest list, probably because there's like 200 characters in that film. But Rachel wasn't about to take this shit lying down, and immediately began bitching about it on social media, basically bullying and guilt-tripping the Academy into not just an invite, but an actual presentation gig as well. I mean, if nothing else, you've got to respect the sheer balls of this fucking 20-year-old nobody
For sure. I'm sorry, but yeah, that takes some cojones. Personally, I feel like that was uncalled for. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, no, I am. Sometimes you gotta be cutthroat, and I guess she did what she had to do to get up there. But I just think she on the way she didn't know how to tone it down. You know, cause some trouble, get your foot in the door. But don't get your foot in the door, walk into the goddamn building, and keep starting up shit and burning the building down. And that's basically what she did.
In the biggest film organisation on the planet about what she's entitled to. Don't worry though, entitlement would soon prove to be a running theme of Rachel Zegler's career. While all this was going on, she'd also landed a supporting role in Shazam 2, which wasn't exactly career-making stuff, but rather the kind of easy, undemanding job that actors take for a quick payday. The thing is though, you're not supposed to say that part out loud, but that's exactly what she did during the film's press tour.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
It was like she had no filter, no idea of what's appropriate to say, no understanding that she was basically shitting on the film before it was even released. A film that was literally the second role of her entire career by that point. You're not quite...
You see, I didn't know that specific, and you know, one can say she's being honest, and I agree with that. But I go back to the same thing. Just because you feel like you're allowed to say what you want does not mean that you are free from the criticism that comes afterwards. And she has like a very bad attitude, you know. She's pretty talented. People respect humility, and she seems to have none. But yeah.
Quite so high that you can look down on movies like Shazam 2, Rachel. Anyway, the film would go on to flop at the box office, making 2 flops in a row for Rachel. But that's okay though, because she had her eyes on an even bigger prize by this point. In 2021, Zegler truly hit the big time when she was cast as the lead role in Disney's Snow White. The powers that be in Hollywood were clearly working to position her as the next big thing. Young, talented, diverse and confident. A mini girl boss in the making, if you will. She was going to be the new Jennifer Lawrence, the face of the next generation of Hollywood starlets that would lead lead the industry for the next decades. Unfortunately, with all that fame and success came increased attention. People were actually listening to what she had to say now, and holy shit, did Zegler have a lot to say. Now, you've all seen her infamous red carpet interviews, so I'm not going to subject you to another tedious montage of it, but the point here...
You know what, just real quick, I know I'm rambling on way too much. I don't know what's going on, honestly, because I find it hard to believe. Or maybe the whole, everything with Hollywood, maybe it got just so damn woke that they just missed a step. But I just find it hard to believe. Because, when you get into these gigs, and I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what it is I know about it. I know just enough. But I know enough to understand that there has to be what you call PR training. People who will guide you what to do, what to say, what not to say, what to avoid, and how to get out of tough situations when you're back into a corner. How come nobody taught her this? How come nobody reprimanded her since the beginning? I think they let her speak on purpose. I just guess they weren't expecting the backlash to be so bad. But who knows?
Here is that her comments didn't go down quite the way she'd anticipated. For most people, this was their first real introduction to Rachel Zegler, and it wasn't a good one. She came across as arrogant, entitled and self-absorbed, casually insulting and dismissing the original Snow White, and banging on and on about the new film being made for modern audiences.
Fuck.
Just what nobody wanted to see. Now, in her defense, I still believe that she was delivering talking points given to her by the studio, but there is a way to get those kind of points across without sounding like an obnoxious arsehole. And she didn't do it. This stuff all came at the worst possible time in Hollywood history too, when the whole remade for modern audiences bubble was about to burst. The result? A social media firestorm the likes of which has never been seen before, or probably since. Even Brie Larson in her Captain Marvel heyday never came close to the level of backlash directed at Snow White, and more specifically at Rachel Zegler. For a lot of people, she basically became the personification of everything they disliked about modern Hollywood. A spoiled, entitled, and not particularly talented, manufactured celebrity elevated to a position she didn't deserve, and without the humility or self-awareness to even be grateful for it. Disney were forced to go into full-blown panic mode, delaying the movie by more than a year while they waited for the backlash.
Like I said, the talented part, I don't know. For what I understand, she's a great singer, actress. I haven't really seen her act that much. Maybe I should watch a movie. Well, just for what I saw on Shazam, the way she's being blown away, like what the kind of fucking face is that? Like, seriously? She looks like someone took a picture and it's too bright. I'm like, dude, you're literally being blown away. Like, I don't know, like, make the effort to make it real. Some shit, what the fuck is that? Like, seriously, He's like, what? I can't get over that shit. Like, it's just weird. So maybe he's right. Maybe she's not very talented, at least when it comes to acting. Because when it comes to singing, apparently she's quite good. She has a very pretty voice. I haven't heard it myself, but, word through the grapevine is she's a good singer. But whatever.
To die down, and even putting Zegler on a humiliating, carefully stage-managed apology tour in the hopes of softening her public image. And to some extent, it did kind of work. The marginal success of the new Hunger Games movie in 2023 helped to maintain the illusion that she was still somewhat popular. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. The problems really began, well, anytime she opened her mouth and went off script, and they could only shut her up for so long. When the first trailer for Snow White landed in August 2024, Zegler immediately took to social media to thank her fans for it, even though the trailer got ratioed into oblivion and became one of the most unpopular in YouTube history. But even then, she couldn't resist dropping in a political hot take, this time weighing in on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Because truly, if there's anyone out there qualified to talk about complex geopolitical issues stretching back thousands of years, it's a spoiled 22-year-old theatre brat that's never even worked a normal job in her entire life.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Like I said, you know who the real boss is in Hollywood? The people who take out their wallet and pay for that movie. Not the director, not the investors. I mean, to a certain degree, of course, I'm not trying to discredit. But ultimately, the people who are going to invest their money, for all those people who invested to get it back tenfold. Those are the real boss, the people, the customers. They're the boss. And I know this because I'm a manager at a business. Like, I know this for a fact. I can't mouth off. I can't insult the customers. They are always right, even when they're not. Even when there's times where I have to, grit my teeth, bite my tongue, and take it, and come up with a better solution with a smile on my face when deep down I want to just ball my fist and let it loose. But that is the game. But and when you're a superstar, you want to talk political, you want to educate, you want to belittle, whatever. Chase your damn career. Be a damn politician. Do some real work in there and see how far it takes you. Entertain us. That's your job. You don't like it? Do something else. Like I said, no biggie. But put your money where your mouth is. But rambling on way too much. Sorry about that.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
Once again, another firestorm erupted, and once again, Disney were forced to go into damage control mode, this time assigning her a social media manager, and even having producer Mark Platt fly halfway across the country to personally reprimand her and ask her to take down the post. Mark Platt fly halfway across...
Right here, I think this Platt gentleman is not the actual... I think he's the son of the main producer, director. Please correct me in the comment section and whatever I'm missing. But I remember this thing on. I guess somebody on Instagram had reached out to him telling him, oh, they're censoring or whatever, and he had the perfect response. And right here, you really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. Well said. And it's true. You don't have to agree with it, but it's true. And as a person who deals with customers firsthand, that's how it is. If you don't like it, don't be in customer service. Don't be an entertainer. But the world doesn't revolve around you, man. Like I said, narcissism is not something to be cuddled or encouraged. Enough said. Sorry, rambled on again.
Across the country to personally reprimand her and ask her to take down the post. And she fucking refused. You know, there's such a thing as overplaying your hand, but Zegler was trying to play before she'd even been dealt her cards. The fact is, you can only get away with being this much of a headache for the studio if you're a proven heavyweight at the box office with a track record of making serious money for the studio, and Zegler had nothing but a handful of flops and one minor success to her name. But still she didn't stop. From then on, there was just no shutting this girl up. She weighed in on everything from immigration to women's rights to the American election, and every time she opened her mouth, she drove more people away from the movie. She even managed to piss off her Snow White co-star, who funnily enough didn't share her opinion on the whole Israel-Palestine thing, and the tension between them at the 2025 Oscars.
I could imagine why. Gal Gadot, oh bless her soul, she is so gorgeous. When I first saw her as Wonder Woman, that smile was just so intoxicating, like just like it's the kind of woman that that smiles at you, looks at you, and can just level you with her eyes and smile. Just like so gorgeous. If she was having an issue with everything that was going on, obviously she would have an issue because Gal Gadot is Israeli. She even served in the Israeli army. I think everybody in Israel has to serve in the army, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like of course she wouldn't be in agreement with that. And yeah, like I said, Rachel Zegler has talent, but she's nobody. She really is nobody compared to the big heavyweights like Rob Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, like those guys. Not to mention Ben Affleck, like I can name a lot of them. Like those guys have earned the right to be arrogant. She hasn't yet. and it's sad. Like I said, I hope she bounces back. I don't wish her to be gone forever. I know some people do, and if you disagree with me, by all means, let me know in the comment section. I'm like I said, I'm always open to a new perspective. I hope that she returns with a better attitude and more humility, because that's what she lacks. Because I don't want to see her gone forever. She clearly has talent. She can sing. She's beautiful. She's just a bitch.
Yours was so thick you could practically cut it with a butter knife. March of 2025 would prove to be Judgment Day for Snow White and Zegler in particular. And well, you don't need me to tell you how that one went down.
For real.
In fact, it became one of the biggest bombs in Disney history, getting absolutely savage reviews and losing the studio hundreds of millions of dollars. Now there was just no hiding it anymore. Zegler had basically gambled her entire career on the success of this film, and she lost big time.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
So what was the fallout of all of this? Well, it seems like Zegler's career might be over before it even began. With an absolutely toxic public image, a reputation for causing problems behind the scenes, and no major successes to prop her up, she just doesn't have the political capital in Hollywood to absorb this kind of failure.
With all that being said, I would say this. I could be wrong. This was like he said, she said. So if anybody knows more than me, let me know in the comment section. But from what I understand, she comes from a pretty well-off family. So worst case scenario, she never bounces back. She never comes back. As far as I know, she'll be fine no matter what. So, but yeah, just putting that out there.
Casting director in his right mind is going to put her in a high-profile movie at this point. She's got no major film or TV projects coming up and seems to have retreated back into theatre roles with a West End production of Evita, which apparently isn't doing too well either. There just doesn't seem to be a way back for her, or if there is, it's going to be a very long and hard road. Rachel Zegler really was her own worst enemy in this case. She went from the darling of Hollywood, on the verge of being the next big leading lady, to an unemployable disaster and ultimately a sad footnote in movie history. A flash in the pan who died out as quickly as she began because she just couldn't learn to shut the fuck up. She really did crash and burn in the most spectacular manner, and in this case, she's got no one to blame but herself. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Okay, so that was The Critical Drinker, Rachel's crash and burn, the Rachel Zegler story. That was quite interesting. Like I said, he brought up a lot of great points. Like maybe it's just I like to think that I'm a nice person. At least I like to think so. I'm not entirely sure. Whether I'm a good or nice person is not for me to decide, but the people around me. With all that being said, my point is that I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, let that girl just whatever." Me, no, not really. I hope she comes back. I really hope she bounces back. It might take a while, given how badly she messed up, man. Like, obviously, nobody's gonna want to employ her. At least not in any major Hollywood pictures, unless she's gonna like straight up learn how to just zip it, which I don't see her doing because she has a level of arrogance and possibly narcissism that is out of this world. But either way, I wish her the best. Though she'll probably be fine no matter what. But yeah. So yeah, that was my reaction. If you like my reaction to The Critical Drinker, if you have it in you, please do me a favor. Give me a like and subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Let's keep this community growing. We're doing well so far. And this is your boy Brown Baldy. Thank you so much for joining me. And y'all have a good rest of your day. And y'all take care.